So, welcome to another episode of the Venari Podcast. As part of our Health Tech CEO podcast series, I'm joined by Michael Paul, CEO of MaraBio. Welcome to the pod, Michael. Good to see you again.
Christian, great to see you too, and thanks for the opportunity to join.
No problem at all. So yeah, I mean, I think we've obviously chatted a lot in the past, and kind of wanted to take a deeper dive really into your kind of background, and obviously into your into the company of MaraBio. So maybe first of all, give us a bit of context around your life kind of prior to joining MaraBio.
Sure. So again, happy to be here. And I think I'll start with, I was doing some research at Harvard Medical School in the late 1980s. And really back at that time, you saw the advent of the biotechnology industry in Cambridge. And I had always had an interest in science and in business, and I thought that that was a career that I wanted to pursue. So I came out to the University of Utah. I received my doctorate in biochemistry and molecular biology, and then took my first job at a company in Salt Lake City called MPS Pharmaceuticals, which I often say was the best first job a person could have. Great science, great people, actually put Amgen's only small molecule on the market, but it really taught me the importance of integrity and commitment when building a business. And then around the early 2000s, I reconnected with a great mentor during my graduate program. His name was Dr. Stephen Prescott. And we started a company called Lineagen, which was focused on genetic testing and providing the best genetic testing and genetic counseling for individuals affected with autism and other disorders of childhood development. And we built that company from about 2 people up to about 135 people, raised about 50, 60 million in investment capital, and took that company from startup to commercialization through to strategic exit in the year 2000. And Christian, really during that time, I was really blessed to have the trust of a great board of directors, including Dr. Prescott, Fred Middleton, who was the first CFO at Genentech, Dinesh Patel, who had founded Theratech, Mary Tanner, who was the first woman partner at any Wall Street investment banking firm, and David Kabikoff, who was a serial investor and very successful CEO. During that whole process, even the ups and the downs, really taught me the importance of the organizational health, building effective teams, and really focusing on a core vision and a core mission.
No, I can imagine. And what an absolute starter of the cast really to work with as a board. I mean, how was that? Was it you kind of intimidated in any way, or?
Well, I think sure at times, but I think the important thing is that each one of these people had done it before, right? And they know that no matter how good the plan rarely withstands contact with the enemy, and it's about addressing the problems as they come up, not focusing on what went wrong, but then what do you do to fix a problem that comes up? And then again, that importance of organizational health, it starts at the board, it starts with the CEO, it starts with management to get completely aligned on a collective purpose.
How did you end up at MaraBio?
Yeah, great question, because I had known of the great work, and I think the shout out goes to Dr. Judy Vanderwater, who is a scientific founder, and this is really her life's work over the last 15 years of the discovery of this real fundamental breakthrough in immunology. And I had known of the technology during the time at Lineagen, had talked with them, but after we had moved on from Lineagen, having sold the company, I was able to join MaraBio as a consultant, learn more about the technology, about the vision, and about the direction of the company. It was really intriguing and very compelling at that time to really join.
No, I can imagine. And maybe just for the benefit of listeners, obviously, and perhaps in layman's terms as well, what is it that MaraBio does exactly?
Yeah, and I'm happy to answer that question, but I've learned the importance of starting with why behind a company exists. And the why behind why MaraBio exists is a world in which the most severe effects of autism do not exist. And the way that we will do this is by the detection and ultimate treatment, and hopefully the prevention of a subtype of autism called maternal autoantibody-related autism, hence the name MaraBio. And in this subtype, which we believe affects currently, based on the current data, affects approximately 20% of all individuals with autism, is a case in which specific autoantibodies circulate in the mother's blood, cross the placenta at about 100 days during pregnancy, and interfere with brain development, resulting in autism manifestations and eventual diagnosis of autism in the child. And so we are going to test for this by a simple blood test in the mother. in which with a very high degree of accuracy, currently over 95% accurate, that if she tests positive for a pattern, which is 2 or more of these antibodies, then her child would be diagnosed with autism.
What would be the next step then, Michael?
So I think it's important to start with the end in mind, which is ultimately a test for every woman prior to pregnancy and every child at birth. And we have multiple ways that we can win on the road to that vision. And the first is going to be to test that high likelihood family. That's a family that has at least one child diagnosed with autism, and either a second child that could be pre-symptomatic or have yet to be diagnosed with autism, or secondly, and importantly, subsequent to a prior pregnancy, so that the family has the information available prior to having that second child. But I do want to emphasize that MaraBio will not test a woman during pregnancy unless and until there's a treatment available that can neutralize the effect of these pathogenic antibodies during pregnancy.
And what is the benefit of kind of knowing this in advance, basically?
So the benefits are very significant. And I'd like to emphasize that the key benefit is pre-symptomatic detection for the likelihood of autism. And pre-symptomatic detection is important for all diseases and disorders in order to get the best outcomes possible. In the MARA subtype of autism in that child, whether it's at 3 months old, 6 months old, but even at birth, because these antibodies can be detected in the newborn blood spot, thereby this could be a newborn screen, getting that child into clinically effective behavioral interventions as soon as is practicable, much before the current age of diagnosis, which is 4 or 5 years old. Yet this early intensive behavioral intervention has been shown to be effective in children as young as 16 months. Now, pre-pregnancy, the importance is equally significant because there are interventions that exist today and that are in development that could prevent or actually block the transmission of pathogenic antibodies. For instance, intravenous immunoglobulin therapy, or IVIG, is currently administered to pregnant women today for conditions, not the MARA autism disorder, but for disorders that are caused by pathogenic antibodies, such as a hemolytic disease of the fetus and the newborn. And then, excitingly, and we're really excited about this, there are new emerging class of biologic drugs called the FcRn antagonist or inhibitors that have been shown to be safe and effective in phase 2 clinical trials in preventing these type of autoantibody-related diseases that affects fetal development.
So although you are a founder initially, you didn't found MaraBio. What made you take the CEO role there?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think founding a company like Lineagen was certainly a passion of mine. I think I'm more focused on doing meaningful work. And I think that's really what compels me about MaraBio, is actually being entrusted by the founders, Judy Vanderwater, Jim Woody, Martin Kligfeld, to really pick up on this foundational work that has the ability to truly transform the care and reduce the prevalence of autism. So in some ways, because of this trust, I feel more compelled now to do the right thing at the right time and in the right way.
So, MaraBio is still in, very early stage. Commercially, I suppose, what's kind of the next step for you guys? Where do you see yourselves in, let's say, the next couple of years?
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think the company is at the early stages, but the technology is not at the early stages. And I think that's important to point out. Well, I think what we're really excited about over the next couple of years is really moving into the precision medicine aspect of the technology. And that is partnering with pharmaceutical companies, biotechnology companies, or these plasma biologic companies that have developing and have on the market therapeutic interventions that can actually reduce or ultimately block the transmission of these pathogenic antibodies from crossing the placenta and interfering with fetal development. So we really believe this is a first and only opportunity to bring precision medicine to a family, and ultimately is the definition of precision medicine, right? To identify the patient even before the disease or disorder presents itself in order to prevent that. So that's where we really see the excitement about the MARA technology, is in that area of precision medicine.
Fantastic. And final question. I mean, you're a serial entrepreneur. You founded companies obviously in the past and now obviously CEO at MaraBio. What advice do you have for future founders, future CEOs? Anything that you can kind of shed light on?
So great question. I go back to the reason why I joined MaraBio, and that's the opportunity to make meaning. And not just for yourself or your families, because they're going to miss you from time to time, but mainly for the people that need help. And we're in healthcare in order to help people. And so make meaning, make a place, build a place that meaningful to employees, that they can share a collective purpose, a place that creates value for shareholders, but also a place that provides the opportunity to perform a service for others. Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters.
Brilliant. Well, no, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, Michael, and thank you for sharing your story. The vision of where MaraBio is going, and obviously wish you all the best of luck.
Well, Christian, I can't thank you enough for having me on, not for myself, but for MaraBio, because I truly believe this is transformative for so many people that are in such need for new technologies and new opportunities to really live a better life. So I really thank you for that opportunity to share the MaraBio story.
No problem. All the best.
Hey, thanks.